Hi, everyone, and welcome to this Gridium webinar introducing touchless remote audits to buildings in Silicon Valley Power. My name is Boyd Arnold. I'm the Business Development Manager for Northern California for Gridium, and I am joined today by Tom Arnold, Gridium CEO. Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Boyd. How are you?
Doing really well. Excited to introduce folks to our analytics and remote audits in SVP territory today.
This is exciting. We serve almost 1,000 buildings now across half a dozen states, and we've always had this inability to serve Silicon Valley Power right in our home territory. So it's very exciting to be able to get data connected to Silicon Valley Power and bring our technology to the city of Santa Clara.
And although folks might not know us in Santa Clara yet, some of our customers include Honda, Polycom, and Kilroy. And we're also very proud of our work at LinkedIn, where we've saved them $100,000 and reduced their greenhouse gas emissions. So let's jump into the analytics. And Tom, let's start with what is interval data and why is it important?
So if you ever looked at energy, what you typically look at is bills, and you get 12 of them a year. And as you can see on the picture, we got 12 pixels here, and you get some idea of what's going on. You get a high bill, a low bill, you know that summers are going to be higher, winters are going to be lower, but it's quite a mystery. What's really exciting is our technology connecting to smart meter data. And smart meter data has 35,000 points a year of data, and suddenly we see the picture come alive. We can tell all kinds of things about a building in a remote audit and give you ongoing service that brings those diagnostics back to you.
And one of the great things about Gridium Energy Analytics is that we don't require any installation in your mechanical room or on your BMS. We connect to SVP and utility data over the internet. And to get folks up and running on our analytics, all we need is a copy of a recent SVP bill.
Boyd, it's really that simple. And one great advantage of that is we get to look back in history as well. So it's not just an audit where we see what happened that day. We typically see 2 to 3 years of data on your building and how it's performing.
That's right. It's a very rich data environment when we connect our analytics. All right, folks, let's jump into the 6 types of insights you'll gain during a Gridium remote energy audit. First up is peak demand predictions. Now, Tom, what is peak demand and why is it important?
Well, peak demand is just the maximum power draw of your building. And one great thing about a building in Santa Clara is you got lower rates than PG&E. One really bad thing about a building in Santa Clara is that peak demand charge, half of it is going to get charged on the maximum during the entire year. That means that Gridium's predictive analytics are really useful because what we're going to do is predict that demand charge for you. What we see here is just a 5-day ahead forecast for a building, and it clearly shows that Monday is the day that this building is going to set a new demand charge. If that operator can take action, maybe starting earlier, he can set the stage for 12 months of bill savings by lowering the peak demand.
Now, next up is fault detection. What's going on in this building, Tom? Why is there orange shade? Why is there blue shade? And what do we think is going on here, and what might be the opportunity?
Well, this is the retrospective part of Gridium Analytics. And what we're doing is we're comparing the actual readings from SVP to a model of your building. If you're below it, we're shading it blue, and if you're above it, we're shading it orange. You can see here a lot of orange. When is it happening? It's happening overnight. And it's big. It's 50 to 60 kilowatts 24/7. I don't know, could be a big air handler maybe left on, and this is a big flag that there's something here and a good opportunity to reduce savings and get back to that lower base load overnight.
We're now looking at a heat map, and Tom, can you explain to us what a heat map is and what's going on at this building?
Heat map is like an MRI for your building. On one page, we show you an entire year's worth of interval data, and it brings the story of your building alive. What's happening here? This building ran 24/7 until July of 2016, and then suddenly the controls started working again. Energy use is aligned with the occupancy period, and this building is saving a ton of money. This is a great story of a customer that took control of their building and lowered spend.
That's great to see. Let's talk about how someone might lower spend and lower energy use, whether through an energy project or through scheduling, but have that savings be masked by other factors. And how's that possible, Tom? How might that occur on a bill?
Well, you don't control every factor of the bill. In fact, when we marry interval data with bill data, we get laser-like precision into why a bill is high or low. Just look at this November bill. It's up almost $2,000 from November the prior year. But what factors drove that? They're factors that you don't control. You don't control the rate. You certainly don't control the weather. You don't even control the number of days or types of days that SVP bills you. Those all added to the bill. Your core operations, which is what you do control, all came down from the prior year by almost $3,000 each month. So if you're that team that took control of your building and lowered your spend, this tool allows you to show those savings every single month, even if you're dealing with rate increases or exceptional weather.
Now, Tom, there's a way for folks to use free outside air to cool their buildings. And how does this temperature response graph indicate whether a building is using that outside air effectively to reduce energy costs?
You know, I love Silicon Valley. There's no air conditioning in my house. If it's hot, you just open a window. And that's what you're doing in a building with an economizer, whether it's air side or water side. What you may not know is that even buildings that are equipped with economizers sometimes break, and that's what we're showing here. This is a diagnostic chart to indicate the change in energy use for the change in temperature across different days. You can see that the weekends are lower than the weekdays, but you can also see that it's fairly linear. There's no flat spot here, and this is an indication that as soon as the building comes over a set point, it's shifting into mechanical cooling. If this was my building, I'd be looking at the economizer for a fault.
A great insight from a remote audit right there. And finally, Tom, let's look here at a load duration curve. And could you tie this curve back to your discussion earlier about peak demand predictions?
Well, remember that demand charges in SVP hurt you for the entire 12 months. So one thing it's important to understand right off the bat is how peaky is your building. This is a load duration curve. All we do is rank order all the demand readings for the year and show you how little time you spend at certain demand readings. So this building peaks at about 1100 kW, but it uses those last 150 kW less than 1/2 of 1% of the time. And they pay for that all year. So this is an indication that there's a good demand management opportunity, and that predictive demand management should be part of your energy management strategy.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. And those are a few of the insights that you can gain from a free remote audit. And it's as easy as sending us a copy of a recent SVP bill. Feel free to email me with any questions or bills at boyd@gridium.com. And I'd like to thank you, Tom, for your time and for sharing some of the insights folks will get from a remote audit.
Thank you, Boyd. We look forward to talking to everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.